everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kat. So I've been really busy in the past few weeks working on my new 2 projects at the same time. So I feel really sorry that I couldn't update my videos every week like what I did before. I was so busy that when I have some time, I just want to catch up some sleep, chat with my friends and catch up with my family. So I'm truly sorry about that. But today, I really want to share with you my experience on working as a healthcare strategy consultant. And many of you are really curious about what a day look like as a healthcare strategy consultant. So I want to use this video to walk you through, what my day looks like during COVID as a healthcare strategy consultant. So if you like my video so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so I can provide you more content about PhD, grad school, and consultant life and career development. So let's get started. So as a healthcare consultant, because we're more focused on one industry, our job is definitely not as demanding as management consultants who work 80 to 100 hours per week. So, our workload is a little bit on the more chill side compared to them. But of course, we don't work, 9 to 5. So our week is about 50 hours. And that's pretty much 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, okay? So we definitely have the weekends off. So because of COVID, now we work from home. That's why I really wanna, use this video to share with you what I do every day and just, so you can have a better idea on what I do and why am I so busy. So to start with, this is just me, okay? So like how I work every day on my job. So because now we're working from home, so everybody has different schedule, okay? So I'm more an early riser, so I like to wake up a bit earlier in the morning. So now I typically wake up around 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and I, get up, clean myself, 5 minutes, and then I walk my dog. And that will take about, 20 minutes. And during the walk, I typically put on audiobooks, whatever you like. To me, it's thrillers all the time, detectives. And recently I've been, listening to the whole series from James Patterson, The Women's Murder Club. And I'm on book 12 right now. And it literally, let me think. I think I started around May when I started work. So it's about, how many months? 3 months now. So I finished about 12 books, just listening to them in the morning for like about an hour. So other than the time that I walk my dog, I will listen to audiobook. And after I come back from the walk, I will also do my breakfast. Yeah, so I wake up around 6:30 and I walk my dog. So that's around 7:10. Then I'm back home and then I start, just get ready for my breakfast. So typically during the weekdays, I don't do, complex or fancy breakfast. It's very simple. I have some very easy breakfast tips if you guys are interested. So typically I will do espresso using the Italian mocha, just, 1 or 2 shots, depends on how sleepy I am. And then I typically have the overnight oats with yogurt and berries on top. So that's just a, overnight oats bowl. And I will prepare egg, which, I have a very cute, boiled egg cooker. I don't know, you can cook 7 eggs at the same time with a little bit of water. And then whenever it's done, it just beeps, right? So I don't have to, look at it or count minutes if I boil the eggs in a pot. So that's very convenient. That is the most frequent breakfast I do because it's easy and just takes me, 10 minutes. When I'm doing the breakfast, I'm still, on my AirPods, on my audiobooks, and I will finish my breakfast while starting my laptop. So I do have a laptop with 2 monitors connected in my office. So I will do that while I'm eating breakfast. So I'm, getting ready for my day. So that whole process, preparing breakfast, eating breakfast, to get ready, it's about 7:30, right? And then around that time, I would, check emails if there's some emails I have to catch up. So typically Monday morning is relatively busy because your manager would send out the work plan for the week, typically Monday morning. So everybody on the team knows what each of you have to do that week, okay? So I will check my emails, plan my day. If that marks as the starting of my workday, so my workday would start around 7:30 or 8 a.m. depends on the breakfast and many other things, if I want to go to restroom or whatever, so I will typically say my workday start around 7:30. So I will say typically my work actual day start around 7:30, 8 a.m. to 5:30, 6 p.m. So that's pretty much a very typical 10-hour day for people in our company at my level or below. That's quite usual. So what you do during the day, for that 10 hours is really depends on your project. So typically it's 4 different things. One is client meetings. So let's say this week you just started your project, so you would have client kickoff meeting as I mentioned in my previous videos. And then you might have, intern meetings or final presentation with clients, right? So those are the client meetings, and that typically, will take an hour and a half of your day, right? And then that typically only happens once a week. And second thing is team meetings, okay? So you typically have a team of, 4, 5, 6, depends on your projects. But typically, because those projects are short, so every week you would have team meetings. And that would depend on the urgency of the meeting and the content of the meeting. That range also from, an hour or an hour and a half, sometimes 30 minutes to touch up. So that's second. So other than the meetings, so the third thing would be the primary research that you have to do for that project, which I also mentioned in my other videos about what you do as a healthcare strategy consultant. And so the interviews, which I mentioned before, is for your primary research. You interview the experts that's familiar with the work that you do for the project. So that's typically you either lead the conversation or you take notes. So typically we'll have 2 to 3 people from the team in an interview with the experts. So that will be typically last an hour. So it really depends on how many interviews you have to conduct within, let's say, a week or 2. That really means, sometimes you could have 1 interview a day, but sometimes you could have 3 interviews a day, okay? So that really depends on your projects. And finally, the fourth thing that you have to do for the day is, of course, your own research, which is the secondary research. As I mentioned before, this is very important for your projects because you understand your project by doing your secondary research, right? You want to understand how this drug works, how many competitors out there, what is the market. So all these are gathered from your secondary research. Also, this knowledge are important when you ask questions to experts, right? If you've done your research, then the expert think, oh, we are actually connected. You're asking something that is truly meaningful. You are not just asking some really shallow questions. We're connected somehow. You know what you are talking about. So that is really critical for the work that I do every day. So for all this information that you gathered, you ultimately want to put on the slides, right? So slide building is also something that you do every day. So that also depends on your project, what kind of content that you put in the slides and how many slides that you build, all these things that matters, how much work you have to do that day, okay? So these are really the 4 main things that would happen on a typical day. What I've shared so far is definitely a typical day as a consultant, right? So 10 hours, as I mentioned, is quite normal, but of course, the higher you go along the ladder in the company, the more hours that you have to work. So, now I'm just at a consultant level, but if you are more senior, let's say at management level, you definitely have to work more every day. If you are the partner of the firm, you work on weekends, you work at nights, you work 24/7 probably. So it is definitely correlated with the level that you're at. And of course, your compensation goes up accordingly as well. So that's, as I said, it's a typical day, but sometimes, what mostly happens at the end of your projects, you have a lot of data that you've gathered, you have a lot of slides to build, you've done a lot of primary research, you've done a lot of secondary research. Let's say you have a deadline this Friday evening that you need to put all your slides together. So that might be a little bit hectic day. So why it typically happens at the end of the project, that could be a couple of different reasons. It could be one, you've done all the work, but at that time, the the partner thinks actually the story didn't flow very well, we might need different data, we might need to reorganize the slides, that is a major change, right? And second, it could be, you've done a survey or some of big data gathering that you literally just finished that research, 2 days ago, and now you have to crunch all the data and put all of these data onto the slides. And then it really depends on how the partner or how the manager wanna, display the data, right? That is also a conversation. And what kind of data we should output, what kind of, visuals that we should put on the slides. So that's a lot of discussion and a lot of work to be done if you have a deadline of, let's say, Friday night. And then it could also happen, let's say, when some team member didn't do his or her job well, at the beginning of the week. And then you've done your job, but because you work as a team, okay, remember that, you want to help others. You don't want to, just, okay, I'm done with my week and I can take the day off. No, you're a team, so if a team member lags behind, you're supposed to help him or her, okay? So if that happens, probably half of his or her job would land on you. Then you basically are working on top of your work, which, that could be that 10 hours that Friday, but then maybe add another 2-3 hours on you, right? So all of these possible reasons could make your day busier. And that's why it typically happens at the end of the project, okay? So let me just give you an example. Like last week, I just finished one of my projects, and then literally, a day and a half before our final presentation to the clients, the partner wanted a major change on the flow of the story. So I have to work with the manager and really rebuild the whole slide deck of, not the whole slide deck, part of the slide deck, but because you have to change the flow, a lot of data has to move around and you might add or delete some data. So that's just a lot of work and a lot of thinking process involved as well. Also, we have a deadline because the client requested to have the material on hand 12 hours before the meeting. So all of these factors made that day probably over, probably around 12 hours. So, different things could happen, make your day busy, but don't be panic. It's just part of the job, everybody is really, really nice, at least, in my firm. I cannot speak of other companies, but my company, they would be like, oh, you guys really did a lot of work this week. Maybe, order dinner, have some, time off, and we can, you can do the comp time, all different kind of ways that can make your day a little bit better, okay? And then when you're working with really nice colleagues, that also, makes the job not that, demanding. I think it's all about mental status, at least to me. If I feel just like I'm working with amazing people, if I'm working, I don't know, maybe more than 12 hours, 14 hours, I will not feel that bad compared to if I'm working with really grumpy people, okay? And then the whole negative feeling surrounding me all the time, then I'll be like, okay, I'm done with this. Like, I just don't want to work with it, So at least to me, I'm still loving the job, loving my colleagues, loving my projects. I don't have any complaints so far. I'm really excited to be staffed on more cases next week or whenever, you never know, the company will surprise you. That is a day as a healthcare strategy consultant, COVID edition, working from home. And I don't know when things will change, but I love working from home. I love being a healthcare consultant so far. So I hope that this video can help you better understand what I do as a consultant. And if you're considering, please let me know how I can help you during the process. I would love to share more tips on everything around healthcare consultant. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.